Hello. Okay, so I was going through some journals. I want to share with you that on June 28th, 2019, I wrote that I am trying to find my passion. Now that school was over and like being a student athlete was over, what are my goals? But most importantly, what is my passion? Who am I and what do I believe in? I went through this like whole thing where I was trying to figure out what my passion was, because in 2019 in June I was officially graduated, like I was done with school. So I didn't feel like I had a purpose anymore, since that took so much of my time, and now I had so much free time and I was trying to get like a professional contract, so I was really in that in-between period and I was lost and I didn't know what my passion was. And for some reason it wasn't soccer. Soccer never felt like it was enough for me. Like I always felt like I was meant for more. So I was like, what is this thing that I'm looking for? So then I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to another journal, because this one, it was like for my daily like thoughts, I guess, where it was more like spiritual and stuff. So I decided to bring out this one, okay? And I went around that day to see what I was writing about it, because this one is like way deeper stuff. Like, you know, I've had it, oh shit. My first date on here, let's see, November 30th, 2015. So I usually write like bigger life events in here and stuff. So I wanted to share with you like a passage I wrote, which was just about the same time I wrote like, what is my passion? Okay. It starts off. I'm very stressed. I feel anxious. I feel like I've been living a lot lately. Sorry, this did not translate. I'm translating from French right as I'm reading, so sometimes like sentences make sense in French, but if I translate it like that, I'm like, oh wait, that doesn't work. So what I meant was, I've been going through a lot lately. It's pretty negative. I don't understand. People are so obsessed for something in their life. For example, my agent called me. He's just doing his job, taking some news from me, seeing what's going on. Like, it's his work. But I don't understand how that can be his job to do that. I could never do that. To think that that would be my destiny, it doesn't make sense. I'm thinking of me and the fact that I have no passion. It's all fake. Soccer, school, spirituality. I'm not in it 100%. There's not much that motivates me every day. I'm strong enough to do the bare minimum, but I'm not inspired. These past weeks, I feel disconnected by the people. I realize that nothing matters. People, all of us, it's nothing. No one cares about me. Seriously, I don't care about other people's lives. It feels like they are all miserable anyways. I don't crave anything from them. In fact, I tell myself, why would they care about me? I don't know. I'm just so annoyed that I have no passion. The rest is like other shit. Damn, 2019 me was starting to get through some shit, okay? That was like deep to read this. But I know it wasn't that poetic and well written, but I want to show you like the reality of like what journaling kind of sounds like. It doesn't have to be like, super perfect. You really just go about how you feel. And obviously, like at that time, finding my passion was something that was really bothering me, because I felt like I didn't know who I was. Obviously, I didn't know what I was passionate about. It was on my mind all the time. I was going through other notes. So this is what I found that was really interesting. When people say follow your passion, they also make 4 assumptions. The first one is that passion is inherently a good thing. Well, if you actually look up passion, in Latin, it means to suffer. Understanding that finding your passion, or passion in general, is not something that is beautiful, that feels great all the time. There is suffering involved. That's literally what the word means. I don't think you can actually be passionate about something without suffering to get it. So that kind of like gave me a little bit of insight into like, okay, well, it's normal that this is difficult, that the concept of passion is not this easy thing. I feel like that emphasizes why I keep saying like to put yourself in uncomfortable positions, like let's say reading or meditating, like doing some things that are slightly uncomfortable and painful, because you will find your passion or purpose through pain. I think that's what the message kind of means. Okay, the second assumption is that You only have one passion. This is a misconception because when I think about passion, I always felt like it had to be this one only thing, like the one thing that you're devoted to. But I've been reading this book called Mastery, and it kind of goes by the life of like some of the greatest masters that's ever lived. So like Einstein, Darwin, Thomas Edison, like these type of people that had a huge impact. It always seems like they were born to just do what they're doing right now, but they kind of go like through their biography a little bit, and it shows that they have had to go through so many different things, so many different interests to figure out like that one thing they were good at. And once they figured out what they were good at, they made sure they became great at it, because the world rewards exceptional. That was kind of like a sign to find out what you're good at and then become great at it if you want to have a huge impact, but also that it's okay to have multiple interests and passions along the way, because that will help you figure out like that one big thing that is meant for you. It's okay to admit that I have a passion for YouTube, a passion for soccer, a passion for learning. It's okay to have multiple passions. Okay, settled. So that was the second assumption. The third assumption is that all passions are viable things to follow. And that to me is just a way of saying like, let's say your passion is killing. Well, that's illegal. You shouldn't do that. So don't follow any passion that you have. And then the last thing, which I think is the most important one, people have the assumption that people are born with passions inherently inside of them. That was something that I always thought was something I had to find. I keep repeating, I need to find my passion. I need to find it. Like it's this mystery box in my head that I have to unlock. But passion is not something that you find. It's something that you actually build. It's way different. People that are born with a calling is very rare. Most of us, we have to like go out there and like build it and find it ourselves. Find it in a way where you actually like create more skills and get a new level. Like you actively have to work on building your passion. I always try to say find your passion, but it's building your passion. So this is a sign that if you're interested in anything, even though you're like, oh, it might not be your passion, just go there. You don't know what it's going to unlock. Like you should write down a list of everything that interests you and then just pick one, stick to it for like 3 weeks, and then see where it leads you, and then pick something else afterwards and see where that leads you. I started getting into Buddhism and spirituality like years ago, and then that led me to philosophy, and then that led me to some math and quantum physics, and that led me to some self-help stuff. Like I don't even understand how like the trajectory led from one way to another, but it actually happened that way. Like who knows? There's no like one way that's going to like work out, but it only happened because I just started somewhere. You just got to start somewhere, whatever it interests you. It doesn't have to be your passion, but just dedicate your time to that. And you're going to feel some discomfort from trying something new, but you have to realize that the discomfort you're feeling is not a punishment. Use discomfort as a sign like, oh, this is actually kind of good for me. I'm trying to work to something and I have to analyze how this is making me feel, and you know what I'm getting at. Like discomfort is good. Like it's just use it as a sign, as it's like leading you towards somewhere greater, somewhere you want to be. So the most important thing is to just start somewhere. And there's this principle where when you act, you start seeing things that you wouldn't be able to see if you wouldn't have done anything. So any direction you're taking right now is the right direction. The only mistake is if you actually don't do anything. You're just waiting to find it. You're waiting for it to come to you, to hit you. But no, you just have to pick something, and then you're gonna adjust along the way. The other thing I want to talk about is like passion and purpose, and how I view this part of my life as a purpose I'm pursuing. The only passion I can honestly say that I have right now is that I have a passion for learning. And I cultivated that. Like I wanted to have a passion for learning because I knew that that would actually bring me to more opportunities or more passions to discover. So I decided to be passionate about learning. I committed to that, and it's easy to be passionate about learning because the act of learning, actually, there's nothing more beautiful than that. The journey really is the most important thing, because whatever goal I'm trying to pursue, the goal itself doesn't really mean much. It's really just the feeling or the meaning that I'm attaching to it. But what really matters is the journey along the way. It's how you feel every day. So if I get myself to feel excited about learning and being in awe about the wonders of life and things to know, like all the knowledge that exists, and diving deep into that, that's what makes me excited about living. That's what makes me passionate about living. So I'm dedicated to learning. But the thing about purpose that I want to talk about is that I used to have the impression that I had to find my passion in my 20s, succeed in that, like pop off in my 20s, and then eventually just have like a stable life, settle, save, and then eventually retire. Like that's kind of like the life I envisioned for myself, have a family and, you know, be grandparents one day. So I would get so stressed about figuring out what that one thing was, because I'm like, I need to pop off. This is my 20s. I need to figure it out and commit and go all in for it. But I switched my perspective and started to think about living my life like I have multiple lives. And the life that I have right now has this small purpose. And I'll have multiple different purposes along the way with different passions that will, you know, just unlock a new chapter of my life. It doesn't have to be one big one. This is a whole story I'm creating. It could have like a lot of plot twists and turns and action. Like it doesn't have to be this like one and only thing that I just do and then kind of like drift off and settle and like stay stagnant for the rest of my life. I know that I will regret that later on, because life is so precious and we all act like we have all the time in the world right now. We all act like we have so much time in our life. But you know that feeling you get when you realize that you're actually going to die one day and you don't even know when that is? But that feeling, like I got it for a glimpse, like a tiny second, where I was like, oh my God. It's crazy to think that we won't be there someday. We won't be there anymore. Why make life here like stress and bad and painful and monotone and boring when there's so much out there that we can explore, and there's so much potential that we have that we need to maximize? The purpose I have in my life right now is to just constantly learn and discover new passions for myself and things that I like and things that I want to share with the world. That's why I'm doing YouTube right now, because I'm like, there are so many things I'm learning that I want to share with you, and I want to like kind of give you this like energy, this inspiration, this passion that I have. Like I hope it's working a little bit. The thing you have to also realize, this is so valuable, a lot of what you think you desire is not even what you truly want. A lot of things that we expect out of our lives and that we think that we want for ourselves is not even like what we chose. It's what your parents chose. It's what movies showed. It's what celebrities told you wanted. It's what society wanted you to do. It's what teachers taught you in school. There's a lot of things that you're like, oh, that's my goal in life, or that's what I want to do. But it's like, is it actually? Does that actually fulfill you? And you will know later down the road that it won't. But might as well like take consciousness of that right now and do something about it. I love the concept of multiple lives, because there's like this misconception that we literally live when we're young to just build these things to eventually just settle and have no other purpose in life. Why would you just think that way? Like that's so miserable to me. I remember my ex, he like had a job and he was miserable doing it, and I was like, why are you staying there? You're 24 years old. It took him a long time before he quit, because I'm like, what's gonna happen? You're just gonna settle there for 10, 20, 40 years, and then what? You work, you get a raise, you get an increased salary, but then you get more work, and then you get a more raise, but you don't even like what you're doing. That's miserable. We're so young. This is the time to explore different things, to create new skills, and also to let go of things that make you feel miserable. This is the time to take risks, but also find your small passion right now, find your purpose, and then once it doesn't serve you anymore, just move on to another purpose. Just make the most out of life. We all know these movies where this guy in his mid-40s is going through an identity crisis and then wants to quit his job and then start sailing or buy a motorcycle or become a cook or just do this crazy dream. But everyone around him, his family, his friends, his wife, is all telling him like, oh, stop it, Bobby. Get back to work. What are you doing? You're crazy right now. You're losing it. Come on, get back home. Get back home, settle, and just provide for the family, and don't pursue anything. You're so crazy. That was terrible acting. That's because people think that a good life is like settling down and have no change. But we're literally going against nature if we don't want to change. Everything in life is always constantly changing. Like the nature of life, there's one thing that is actually permanent in life. The only permanent thing is that nothing is permanent. Things are constantly flowing and changing. So why resist that and tell people to settle and not change and keep their job forever when that's not even how life works? I just hate the concept that long-term success means that men and women are just very stable and don't change and secure, when it's like, that's, to me, that's just like, I hate to be that person, but that's like the government telling you, giving you structure for you to not go crazy and explore different things. It's just for people to like tame them and not have them go like above and beyond and try different things. But like, this is necessary for feeling like you're achieving your potential. You have to change. You have to pursue different things. You have to develop new skills and go into new challenges and have new hobbies. Like, you have to do these things and maximize your life. Basically, my point is to never settle. Just constantly try to learn and expose new things. And if right now you're struggling to find a passion, just commit to learning. Commit to learning new things, gaining knowledge. That's how you'll figure things out. You'll see what you're interested in. Right now, it's so easy for you to not know that, because if you only spend your time watching reality TV, playing video games, or go on social media, that's not going to teach you anything about yourself. That's not going to make your brain work or make connections. And there are two ways that I can tell you that you need to do to consume information. It's by reading books, or listening to books, or listening to podcasts. Long form podcasts, not short clips, not TikToks about someone, not small shorts on YouTube. Long form on Spotify, on YouTube, on whatever, an hour, 2 hour long podcast. Listen to those, because people sometimes give their little biography or they give valuable advice. It's literally like mentorship that you can have through Spotify. Like, that's amazing. That's amazing we even have access to that. If you do one of those, you commit to that every day, that's going to spark some food for thought, and it's going to open your eyes about things. Oh my God, it's amazing. If I wouldn't have read like all the books I've read, I don't even know where I would be today. I cannot imagine my life without it. It's been life-changing. It's brought me to where I am today. And there's nothing that makes me happier. There's nothing that makes me feel so in tune and living life than being present, chasing my goals, by being present and learning and being on track to where I want to go. And right now, I don't know specifically like what my life will look like in 10, 20 years, but I know for the next few years what I'm committed to, and I'm dedicating my life to that. And I love that. It doesn't feel too bad, because I'm like, I'm not committing to something for 50 years. I'm literally spending like 1 or 2 years of my life that I will learn so much from. And if it doesn't work out, or if I don't like it, I can move on to something else. Just like, it's like chill out, basically. We're good. So if you want to make progress, you need to start sacrificing things that make you feel comfortable. And it goes back to the word passion, meaning to suffer. You're going to face a lot of suffering when you're trying to learn different things. Like I just read in my journals, I was suffering a lot. But that's because I was doing those little things that, you know, my morning routines and meditation and reading, and I was like, nothing really is working right now, and it felt painful. And I was like, I would rather just like drug myself out, or like watch TV, or just party. I don't know. I wanted to do other things maybe that would make me feel comfortable, but I knew deep down that that wouldn't bring me to where I wanted to go, so I just stuck to it. And that brought me to where I am today. Notice that what you're the most resistant towards changing or sacrificing right now is probably the thing that you need to sacrifice. Let's say you smoke a lot of weed. As much as you try to convince yourself, like, you know it might be bad, but you're trying to convince yourself, well, it makes me creative, it makes me like relax, all that. The thing that you're fighting off the most to stop is usually what you need to stop doing. Whatever you need to sacrifice, your brain will defend the most. So see what you're defensive about. Like if I were to call you out, like stop doing that, and you'd be like, oh no, wait, because I shouldn't, because this, that's probably it. So I know that was a lot of information, a little bit chaotic, but inspiring. And I hope you enjoyed it just as much as I enjoyed talking about it. Okay? So, yeah, build your passion. That was my message for the day. Mwah. I love you.